Fewer trees.
Okay, call for a motion to bring the meeting to order. Or I'll just bring it to order. Okay, usually we have citizen comments, so this is the time for that. Do we have any citizen comments today?
That's me.
Yeah.
My name is Jim McCollum, I'm the principal at Shute Middle School. I'm in contact with a couple of people regarding the possibility that we will provide some space for some of our kids in an after-school program that I guess I would say runs from after school to kind of early evening, maybe 5:30, 6 o'clock. I'm not sure I have the entire parameter of that right, but I think the discussion, or what was brought to me, was to kind of bring to you a little bit of focus to the need that we have. So what we have going on is YOU does do an after-school program for us on site, but they only are able to take 60 kids, so they turn away anywhere from 30 to 40 kids every year, just off of the early initial sign-up. That doesn't count kids who move into the area, families that are looking for somewhere for kids to be after school. We do have also a pretty significant population. Chicagoland area has them really between us for middle school and Walker, where they bus them to for schools. Is within that program, and it's getting bigger as we go. We know that we're going to get an infusion of at least 12 more kids next year for the 4 that will be 8th grade that will be going to PHS. And I know that those kids, especially are kids that are hanging around our building over at James Park, all over the place, trying to find somewhere to be, something to do. And I don't know, as I've said, it doesn't have to be anything that's intensive in terms of necessarily academic support. It's just a place for them to be safe and to be and to hang out and be supervised by adults. So I don't know the entire parameter of what is available or any the possibility for what you guys are willing to do, but I just thought I would kind of speak to that, and if you had any questions that you wanted to be able to ask, so you would have an idea of what we were looking at besides number, need, and who the kids are in terms of kind of where they might be coming from.
So what kind of numbers did you say?
So I would tell you that right off the bat, you probably have at least 20 to 25 kids. Once we know what it is, where it is, what you can do. Obviously, if the weather is nice and they can play outside, even if it's not nice, sometimes they want to play outside. We had kids today after school playing basketball, even as it got darker, the light that's on the back over there, they'll play some hoop any time of day, and just about in any kind of conditions. So the initial piece for me would be probably 20 to 25 kids, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And it is a mix, but primarily probably boys, and primarily predominantly African-American boys.
And do these kids participate in your intramural programs?
So there are kids, they'll do intramurals and then they'll want somewhere to be after that. So I guess the other piece would be kind of flexible on the, what time do they arrive at, 4 o'clock, and they arrive at 5 o'clock, because they'll do intramurals with us until about 4:45, and then looking for somewhere to be until it's kind of time to go home, where they have a space that they can kind of, from my vantage point, really hang out and have someone who's able to supervise. I don't know if, some of the other spaces that people talk about have, PlayStation or Wii or whatever they do. And, I don't mind as long as it's something, for me, anything that's supervised and inside and in a positive. I just do not want them hanging out, because it doesn't take but a minute as they get older to be hanging out, and then somebody is able to influence them to, take a different turn. So I'd like to be able to keep them where they are till they can get home, have some dinner. Next day back to school, we do it again. We go through the school year as they're getting ready to go to high school, so that they have a chance to be somewhere with supervision and whatever programs, if there are, that people are looking to run, they'll be all in. I mean, it's really a great group of kids. But I think it's just, again, the need for more. I can tell you that when we have, for example, when we have basketball games after school, on generally Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it wouldn't matter if it is the boys team, the girls team, the 6th grade kids playing. There's probably close to, over 100-something kids in the stands watching the games. And these are kids who will be there. We had a winter concert last night, and 15 of the kids who were refugees came and sat up in the, in the balcony, and they came at 5:15. And the concert didn't start till 7. So they literally just have nowhere to be when the after-school time ends in terms of the supervision. We wish we were able to do even more with what we've got between the hour we have after school with academic help, intramurals and the like, and then with what YOU provides until about 6:15. That's really kind of the edge of where we are in terms of space with getting the building ready for the next day when kids come in.
Principal Mack, I'm Dan Coyne, and my wife and I moved here 25 years ago, and we can't speak more highly of your staff and your crew there at Shoot. The service you're providing to our community is invaluable. Thank you. We did have a chance, we'll be able to talk more detail, I think, in our agenda meeting on this item, but I just wanted to say that I'm impressed by the folks that you are hiring and overseeing at Shoot, both the volunteers and the staff, from folks who are cleaning toilets to those who are administration like yourself. I think our most valuable asset in our community are our children. And goofy age, I'm an educator the last 22 years, school social worker was 65. And I think it's a great investment, anything we can do to help augment what you guys are already doing. And I believe that the vision for what I've heard so far in our discussions is if there's a way that we could collaborate with the city, the Parks Department and folks at 65 there at Shoot to help have kids a safe place to hang out with some adult supervision, a couple adults and some safe things to do, a snack, a warm place to be, and a park right there. It speaks a lot to what they're not doing. Right. And we've had some issues downtown for the last 30 years, I know of, where kids at this age, at junior high age, they all of a sudden have this independence with the bicycle, and this is an exciting time. You get to go downtown and do things, but you don't have any money. You can't really spend it. So, like I know that kids hang out. That's what they do. They're kind of goofy at this age, and sometimes that makes adults feel uncomfortable if there's a group of 20 junior high kids hanging out, not really doing anything, not doing anything criminal, but not shopping and not necessarily spending their money. And this is simply, I think, our way of beginning a new relationship with you guys in the city to see how we might be able to constructively, support some of these kids. And talking with one of your social workers, I think Quinn, was a phenomenal professional, and he said, Dan, look, we've got, probably 900 kids here, and I don't know the exact population of your school, but she said, easily a third aren't necessarily engaged all the time in after-school stuff. We do have some really good programs and private and public programs in Evanston for kids, and a lot of parents do hook up. That's not true for every family. And so our hope is that maybe this little 3 to 6 o'clock, program just over here in your backyard, in our backyard, could be a place that kids would enjoy coming and not get in trouble, but do some constructive, fun stuff. So that's where we're headed with this, I believe.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming out. You're next.
Lawrence Hemingway, Director of Parks, Recreation, and Community Services for the City of Evanston. And I just kind of want to, first of all, thank the board for considering, the option of us partnering together to do an after-school piece to kind of just meet the needs of the community. All of this conversation has started from my department. We run after-school programs in our current facilities, but we don't really we're not doing anything really here in South Evanston. And we looked at James Park, and it's really, with that being our facility, but it really wasn't an ideal, the layout of the space wasn't really ideal. And so through the help of Alderman Fleming, we began some discussions with you guys to help us provide some service to meet the needs here in South Evanston. I met with YOU in September about trying about the James Park idea. We worked with their staff, we looked at it, we realized that, that they were at their capacity at Shoot. They had this tremendously long waiting list, and so that alone told us we needed to do something. And so through those conversations, we're here today to, ask you guys to consider partnering with the city. The city will hire the staff. We will model our program after one of our existing programs at Mason Park. We have furniture that we'll bring into your facility. We have televisions we'll bring in. We'll hire 2 staff people that will be able to work these hours and man, these 25, or be, in charge of these 25 children from, 3:30 to 6:30, Monday through Friday. And I think it will, for all of us, this could be a great opportunity to start to help meet just some of the needs here in South Evanston. And I think it's a great way that Ridgeville and the city Parks and Rec Department can really come together and have a difference in the community. So we plan to, if you guys approve the proposal before you, we will begin posting for the jobs. We'll have a part-time position that will be kind of the supervisor position. We'll add a second staff person at a seasonal, and we'll be able to, as soon as we can hire them, get people in place. We will work with the school to advertise the program. We'll also work with the outreach team to be there to kind of also be extra staff and support for the program. And as the weather breaks, we can go from indoors to outdoors, and staff will be trained and able to support those kind of activities. So I'm just I'm ecstatic about this opportunity. It's my first time as director here before this board, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll be glad to answer them. But just looking forward to hopefully a long-term relationship and working with you.
I understand somebody was at District 202 offered a snack or something.
Well, we will also, so part of the program, besides us staffing it, we will provide an after-school snack. We have a relationship with 202 to provide those after-school snacks. They do it for our current program. We will add this site as an additional site. And, we'll be able to get the kids an after-school snack while they're there with us.
And how will you get them to commit to the program? Like, how are you going to get them to show up? Like,
Well,
most days?
We will call, we'll call a parent. I mean, we will work with the school, but we will call the parents of the kids who are involved. We'll explain, we aren't the staff hired aren't school teachers, right?
Right.
They are adult supervision that can engage with these kids in recreational activities. We will work with, if the kids need extra academic support, the staff will work with the district to communicate that. If a kid needs some access to do some homework, we won't force them to play if they're working on academics. We will provide this safe space, this staffed safe space for the kids to have a good place to come. Now, the commitment comes by meeting with the families and getting them to buy in and to get them to support it. That's how you get the commitment. We do this currently with our kids at Mason. We do it with our kids at Fleetwood. It's not a new thing for us. We will meet with the parents. We ask the parents to make the commitment so that the children are committed to the program and understand that there's just not, you can come and hang out and have a good time, but if there's any issues or problems, there are rules and parameters to follow. And so we get that sign off from the parent, from the family, so that the kids can be there.
Okay, that sounds good.
I also hope that as we enter into this, and we all feel that this partnership can flourish, that we can learn how we can better collaborate with your stakeholders at the school. I know some of the social workers, but there's other staff too that work with the kids closely. And the ones that I've talked with tell me there's easily a couple hundred kids that are just bored. and they're really hungry to do something. Their mom and dad maybe are working till 8 or 9 o'clock, and there's just nothing to do. And so I think as we learn to collaborate with the school, we'll easily find a way to make sure we communicate well and make sure we serve the kids that are needing it.
Yeah, I remember when my kids were at Shoot, there was a ton of kids in intramurals. And, you know, there is definitely a need for it.
I'm very excited that this is, we're on this trajectory, so fully support. I've been kind of behind the scenes hoping that something like this would kind of take place, so it's great, so I fully support the idea.
So what's the next step?
Need to make a motion tonight. From a budgetary standpoint, we had talked about clearing $6,000 on the recreation side as a maximum.
And we've done that, you've done that, you know.
Yeah, but you still need to make the motion at some point in time.
And then the next step is somebody's gonna be in contact with you?
Yeah, we're going to get the working agreement to Jerry and then sign it, and we're all set to go.
Okay.
And we've had a,
do you know who that you're gonna be dealing with?
What's
Do
that?
you know who you're dealing with?
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
Well, Lawrence and Bob Dorn.
okay.
Yeah, and I apologize, I just said, the agreement, we got a draft agreement ready for Ridgefield to review. I just sent it to Brian tonight,
Okay.
since I'm here, so, again, once we get through that, you guys vote to approve it tonight, we'll, get the job posted, immediately, so that we can try to get something in place by the second semester, of the school year. I also want to add, so it's not just after school. So, you know, the district has their early dismissal days. We will staff it accordingly. We're currently providing newer programs for early dismissal days in our community centers. And so we will model this facility, we'll add that to it once we got on board. It's within the budget that we've discussed, and so it wouldn't be any additional cost. But so on half days for those early dismissal days, you know, we'll be there at noon, and we'll have a snack coming at, you know, early on those days as well. So again, kids will always know that the facility is open. As long as school is open, we'll be open and be able to accept the kids.
Great. And that works with all of our programming?
I've moved our half-day workshops to this building, so
Okay.
we'll have the young ones upstairs and the big ones downstairs, so we should be fine.
Okay.
And the band is able to just set up when they get there at 7 o'clock or so?
The only thing, we won't be doing the after-school program during spring break, correct?
Right.
Okay, good. Good, because I'm missing the
What are the
Yeah,
dates?
it's all-
Okay.
What are the dates of spring break? You know?
March 26th through the 30th.
And Principal Mack, what's kind of cool is once the weather cooperates with us, we'll have a nice outdoor ice rink right there for the kids. And, you know, try to get some skates donated, and there'll be something for the kids to do on the skates. You might end up with some more broken bones, but they'll be having fun.
All right, well, thank you for presenting this. Did you have anything, Cicely?
No.
No, okay. Okay, so later in the meeting, we'll discuss this and make a motion, but I think, you know, you can see that we're on board, so.
Thank you.
Just ask if it would be possible, since we do have guests that are interested in this, would it be possible to rearrange our agenda, just put it at the top and go ahead and do that, and free them up to.
Sure, I'm okay with that.
I make a motion, we approve the program with the City of Evanston at Cayman East Fieldhouse for your second semester from January to January to May. And our contribution is $6,000.
I want a second, but it may go through the first part of June, it's to the end of school.
To the end of the school year.
Yeah,
So I thought we were talking.
but I certainly second that,
So
Commissioner.
that's obviously our program starts the next week,
Right. They start camp the same day
They
we
start
do.
the next day.
the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
That shouldn't be a problem.
I'll second
Whatever
that.
the right dates are.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
It's done.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Keep making this world better.
Have a great evening.
Thanks, you too. Okay, let's approve the minutes from last month. Does that someone want to make a motion to approve the minutes from the November 9th meeting?
Yeah, I move that we approve the minutes from November the 9th, 2017.
Can I suggest one correction?
Sure.
On the top of page 3 of 6,
Uh-huh.
the 5 lines down, middle of the sentence, the only option we have right now is to spend unbudgeted money. That word should be unappropriated.
Okay. You got that, Julie?
Yes, unappropriated.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anything else? So do we have to
Do the motion?
redo the motion?
Rob made
Rob?
a motion. I'll
Approved with change.
Yeah, I move that we accept the minutes from November the 9th with the one change that Jerry mentioned on the third line, page 3.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Okay, bills.
Okay, don't panic. The bills are very high, but don't panic. On the bills that you are currently looking at, about $30,000 will be reimbursed to Ridgeville from the CDBG grant, and any day now, we're expecting a $44,000 check from the first billing of CDBG. So I'll go through some of the unusuals as we go through here. Recycling bins, $2,763, that's trash cans also, that's CDBG. You'll see a $434 water bill. That's a part of the outstandings. It's a credit due to double posting. As we go further down, installation of playing equipment at Brummel Park, the $24,000 is CDBG. We'll get reimbursed for that.
Brian, can I just interrupt? I'm sorry. I don't think there's a summary page. That's okay.
Right.
But I don't think we have a summary page in front of us. You're reading off the summary?
I'm reading off the
Oh,
same
you're reading
page.
off of
Yeah,
this.
there's no cover page.
Got it. All right.
As we go further down, the C600s, Evanston Organics, that's wood chips for the playground, or play circuit at Brummel, that's CDBG. And we have a high Home Depot bill, that's the light pole installation or repairs, all the PVC and wiring and connectors we needed. House of rental is the trencher that we had to use to go 2 feet down to lay the PVC, then the wiring. Annual conference, IAPD, Anna's 505, $505. That's in January. As we go further down, our workers' comp insurance is included in this bill from Illinois Public Risk Fund. The audit's included in this bill to Canuti and Associates for $6,100. And the spring summer brochure, which you all have a copy of, is also included in this brochure at $8,863.
I move to accept the corporate monthly bills for December 14, 2017 in the amount of $71,149.97.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Okay, petty cash?
Petty cash, there's a few outstandings down here that have been corrected, but basically, the two bills you're looking at is a check to $200 for the city of Evanston for water hydrant permit at Cayman East Park for the ice skating rink, and M&A Plumbing for $150 to test our RPZ valve, which is an annual thing required by the city. So petty cash, $350 total.
250.
250?
250.
Right?
And
What's that?
250 or 350?
350.
I'm confused.
Or do you want to do the 600?
it's the total for the 2020 category. which is 250 is what it says.
Right up here. There.
Yeah, it should be 350.
Oh,
It's 150 plus 200.
But then you've also got the 2 credits for 600. It's actually a $250 credit balance is what the
That's
total
why you're,
investment is here.
that's why you're the treasurer. So how do you make that motion?
Well, it's a motion to approve the petty cash for a $250 credit.
So moved.
Second.
all in
It's an
favor?
unusual one because we got more in credits than charges going out, correcting past problems.
Okay, so that we're done with that. Natalie?
Hey. This month, we are celebrating the work of animal rescue organizations. Specifically, we are spotlighting the work of the Evanston Animal Shelters. Their mission states that they're committed to providing compassionate and humane care for Evanston's abandoned, abused, and relinquished animals, and to find them homes through rehabilitation, foster care, adoption, and rescue organizations. They aim to further serve the community as a proactive resource for education, counseling, and support. You can read more about them on our website. They're fantastic. Okay. Cradle to Career and Oakton PTA. In November, I met with Cradle to Career and the Oakton PTA separately to report on upcoming Ridgeville camp offerings and programs, and to further the discussion about partnership opportunities. Excuse me. Cradle to Career hosted myself along with a handful of other city organizations that offer camps to come up with ways to cross-promote our programming. So a way of saying, this is what Ridgeville does, this is what we talked about, perhaps some kind of link on their website where they could easily access our website to see what we're offering and all of these other organizations as well. We also talked about what our scholarship opportunities, what those were like, how to apply for things like that, who to contact if they have questions, so they could also kind of cross-promote that information as well and get that out. And reach a wider population. And then I met with the Oakton PTA and I took them some flyers. The brochure wasn't ready at that time, but I took them some information on workshops that we're doing and camps and classes and things like that, and talked to the parents there about some opportunities. We discussed potentially doing some half-day workshops at Oakton as opposed to here. Anyway, but just some things that we discussed, again, in ways to partner together. And I would love to reach out to Shoot and Dawes and to the other schools as well and do the same thing. We had a Feldenkrais demo class on November 28th. It was very successful. I think we had 12 people come and squeeze themselves into that studio upstairs. It was great for us, Dan DeLorenzo, who teaches that class, for he and I to figure out, we kind of surveyed the students and figured out a better day and time for that class to run. So we're going to try something new come this winter, and fingers crossed that it's good. But and that's something I'm trying to do. It's an ongoing attempt to kind of rejuvenate some interest in some of the classes that we've had here for a very long time, is to do these demos with them as well as our new classes, but just to remind people how great they are and why they should be here taking them. We did a half-day workshop. It was our last one of the semester on December 6th. We had 6 kids total, which is great. They had a great time with our instructor, JC Herman. JC and I have been brainstorming some ideas to increase enrollment come January, and our goal is to get the enrollment up to 10 next time. But for the next semester, we have 4 dates for workshops. It's January 17th, February 7th, March 7th, and May 2nd. And then the brochure is out. Yeah, you guys should all have one. I put them on the table for you. It's arrived. I'm so happy. Yay! I love it. We had a new Studio 908 sign created that is on the window you can see as when you leave. I've been updating the website with all of our new content, so that's coming along really well. Registration is open online for the new classes, for most of them. And then I recently did a new orientation for new instructors here, and in the upcoming weeks I'll be ordering supplies and making sure we're ready to go in January.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Very nice.
Great.
Yeah, thank you.
Jerry?
I don't have any of the regular monthly reports because all the focus has been on producing the annual report, which we'll discuss when we get to that part of the agenda. In your packets, I also gave you a copy of the annual statement of receipts and disbursements. This is a document we're required to produce each year, keep it on file it with the county, and post the availability of it. It's available, having posted in the newspaper. So that's done. The process, I'll comment on the annual report about the process of getting it to the finished product here today and some of the issues that came up. In the course of working through the draft with the auditors, we had three major areas of discrepancy between our record keeping and what figures they came up with. The first category is pretty easy to resolve. It's just that they had reversed between the funds a couple of transfers we've done. We've done the transfers from the corporate and recreation fund to the capital improvement fund, and they had flipped the dollar amounts from the two funds. So that was easy to catch and fix. The second discrepancy was in the IMRF accounting. There's about a $1,200 adjustment that they made, and we have to make on our books. The source of that $1,200 was a number of things. One thing has been there for years, and we've always just kind of neglected to deal with it because it was small enough that it was just the way we dealt with it. Nobody could explain why we had it. But because we were fixing the bigger thing this year, we netted that figure into it, and hopefully that is now in the past. Effectively, having written off the past difference. The biggest issue we had was in last December and January's payroll processing and bills paying, an error was made in which the employee portion was booked to the district's contribution, and the district's contribution was booked to the employee's account. So the point was that the accounts payable account didn't wash to zero the way it's supposed to. It was compounded by the fact that then in January, the holiday stipend IMRF contributions were somehow not properly processed and didn't wash out of the account. And then in February, again, there was a problem that it didn't wash out because of an employee's individual additional contribution that they make. So those all added up to a significant problem that the auditors had us adjust our accounting for, and because I could see the merit of their argument, of course I agreed to it. I don't really know or understand that process, so between now and the next board meeting, I'll be looking into that a little bit further to see if there's a way that our processes can be improved so that we catch that error before it gets to the auditors catching it for us, because we really shouldn't have had that get by us. The last major area of discrepancy kind of highlighted something that's always been there, but we've never had enough transactions or a big enough dollar amount involved that the auditors have commented about it before, but in such an oblique way, it never, and they never made changes or required us to do anything, that we didn't really catch on to what the reference was. But this year it was significant enough, they made us make adjustments to our figures, and it highlights a real and legitimate problem that we've never really thought through before. The issue is this. At the June board meeting, you approved the bills. But then between that board meeting and the end of June, the district expends money out of its accounts that doesn't get approved until the July board meeting. Some, the legitimate expenditures are things where we just accrue bills, we get invoiced in July for the services provided in June, and we accrue for that and handle it in the prior fiscal year, and accounts payable in the next fiscal year, and the next fiscal year, write the check, pay the bill, and wash it through accounts payable. That's our way of getting it accounted for in the correct fiscal year, into the appropriations correctly. But the problem is there's a few of those transactions that are actually taken out of our accounts still in June. And it's basically the cleared unapproved items. And we always just kind of lump them in like a check we wrote in June. And what they really highlighted is, no, that's an inappropriate way to account for that, to handle that, and they made us adjust for that. So we're gonna have to change the way we've handled cleared not approved items, which is one of the categories of the outstanding items. The kinds of items that are causing this to happen, what's really made it more prominent is one of those categories. But, you know, it's always been the case with petty cash checks, that we might have 1 or 2 petty cash checks we write in June. Because the purpose of petty cash is for Brian to be able to spend money without board approval. We've kind of given him a blanket approval on the petty cash amount. Secondly, you've in the past, I'm told, been given a blanket approval to electronic debits to pay utility bills. So when we have Commonwealth Edison debit our account before the next board meeting, that kind of fell under, it was blanketly approved, but accounting-wise, we've been a little sloppy in how it's been accounted for. What's really highlighted are the debit card transactions, because we've been using the debit card more, the dollar volume's been going up, the number of transactions is going up, and so the debit cards are what really triggered the concern on the part of the auditors this year. So what and then the last thing that kind of really triggered it was, we had also let the outstandings build up, that we had unapproved items sitting there for more than one board meeting, and that's a really serious no-no. So we had several months worth of unapproved expenditures for the district. So they have adjusted our figures to back all that back. It basically means that the July bills we approved, the totals are incorrect. We're going to have to readjust those and bring them back to you for a board vote. And we're going to implement a new procedure for how we handle the cleared not approves. We're going to have to, accounting-wise, recognize those transactions immediately. In the past, we kind of just deferred recognizing them until a board meeting, but I'm going to have to, accounting-wise now, recognize them immediately. Because I don't know what account to charge them to as an appropriations, I'm going to have to create a new account where I'm going to post these into unapproved, unauthorized expenditure or appropriations. And then at the board meeting, you'll need to pass approval of a supplemental bills report
In July.
for the prior month. So in July,
Yeah.
you'll have the regular bills report, and then you'll have a supplemental report for the June report, for the June figures. And we'll have to do that separately for the corporate account and for the petty cash account. And we'll have to carry that forward every month of the year. So the process of approving the bills is going to get a little more complicated than that. It's going to take
Each month?
Each month.
Or would it make
Because-
sense to meet later in June, for instance?
You'll never be able to meet late enough.
Oh, okay.
You know, so
Yeah.
it's easier to kind of just after the fact,
Do the
pass
supplemental.
the approval as a supplemental.
So do I understand, and really all it is a new accounting to account
Yes.
for this in-between time,
Yes.
when you've had your board meeting at the end of the month, to make sure that the accounting really truly
We've always
reflects
properly
what we did.
reflected the appropriations,
Yeah.
but the problem that this creates is we've not been recognizing a reduction in our cash balances. Instead, we've had an increase in our accounts payable balances. So this is going to reduce things out of accounts payable and push them directly into cash balances. And secondly, it's going to cause us to recognize immediately unapproved expenditures in the cash balances instead of deferring recognizing that the transaction took place. So that's just something we gotta do. And this kind of an add-on that we will have to always insist that they are approved in one board meeting. So if there is any item that has not been resolved by one board meeting, it's going to have to come up for board discussion and some type of disposition. Either the employee's going to have to personally take the hit, or the district's going to have to recognize we're going to do extraordinary approval here, but it's going to take extraordinary action to recognize that situation that shouldn't have happened actually happened. You can't ignore it until it gets resolved, and you can't do that anymore. So a lot more scrutiny on those things as well. That is it for the treasury portion of the report.
And all that said, our bottom line for last year, is there a big difference other than that?
Well, there's a change in the cash balances of somewhere, round numbers, somewhere around $5,000.
Up or
Less.
down?
$5,000 less cash,
Yeah,
$5,000 less accounts payable.
okay.
Okay.
How many hours did this take to do? Just,
Figuring all this stuff out, I probably spent 5-6 hours. Well, just that problem, 5 or 6. The whole annual report usually, the process itself takes about 2.5, 3 weeks of not continuous time, but a couple hours every day,
Yeah.
checking every number in the annual report. Okay, this number I differ. Why do I differ? You know, sometimes it's just a little. One of the things that makes the process a little awkward is the auditors only work in dollars, and we work in dollars and cents. So you have
Right,
little
your
dollar
rounding
penny
errors.
differences all over the place that make it nuts. And then when it's combined, then a lot of these numbers, it's not as simple, oh, let's compare this number to this number. It's I gotta know I have to add this number, that number, this number, and that number together to get to this number in the annual report. And then with all the pennies, it like, what seemed like a little number suddenly added up to $20 or $30. Now, why do I have a $20 or $30 difference? I gotta go pick it apart. So but that part is normal. I mean, I actually I was able to get to the 3 problem areas very quickly this year. And then it was just dialogue back and forth between me and Kate for me to understand. And see, they get to the numbers through a different direction than I get to the numbers. So half the battle is just understanding the language the other one's using about the path and route they took to get there. So I'm not an auditor or an accountant at the level she is. So sometimes I'm kind of like, what? I heard the word, I understand the word, but what did they use?
I could see
thanks
that.
for clearing it up and spending the time.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So that's it for you tonight?
That's it for that portion. We'll talk more when we get to the annual report.
Okay, thank you. Brian, you're up.
Thank you. Bravo Park Community Development Block Grant is 90% complete. Actually, it's about 95% complete. We're waiting for inspections and documentation from Park Creation before we open the play circuit. We will complete the border of the play area in the next couple of weeks. It's actually scheduled for Tuesday of next week. The incomplete border, I said, will not stop us, but we are going to not open it until the border's in, which would be Wednesday or Thursday of next week. So it'll be open. Good news is the weather's going to get warmer for the kids. The bad news, the weather's going to get warmer and the ice skating rink's going to stink. But at any rate, it'll be open probably by next Friday. We'll take the fence down a week from tomorrow. As I already mentioned, we've already begun the reimbursement process. We're expecting a check from the city of Evanston any day now for $44,000. And then I will bill the city after I copy these checks that were, bills that were approved tonight. And then I'll bill them and we'll get the next $32,000 in January. We're going to spend every dime with the CDBG grant, and we're also going to use a little bit of the Bravo Capital Improvement Fund to get a few other things done. One is the labor to put in the border is not in the grant because the grant was only $76,242. So the labor will be about $3,000. The material was covered in CDBG. So that's good. You'll see that in January, and I'll explain it again. On the agenda tonight, obviously, we're going to do the levy ordinance. Canuty's not here, so Jerry will help explain the rest of the audit. Charles will help with the levy ordinance. The ice rink perimeter boards are up. We will install the liner, which we did this week. We've got plenty of water in it. It's semi-frozen, but it will not freeze before the weekend. It's just a lot of water. I went by the cities, I was going to ask Lawrence, I went by Ben Park today and they're still closed. And they are about 5 days ahead of us. So it's a lot of water that has to freeze. And when you get up sunshine and 36 during the day and 22 at night, we need a few 3-4 days of solid cold. So the boards are up, the water's in, now we're waiting for the cold weather. Winter camp begins Tuesday the 26th, ends Friday, January 5th. V. Witter will direct the camp, and registration is strong. Cayman East light repair is complete. We will change the light fixtures in the spring, so that's coming. Ruben Sierra's on vacation for the rest of the month. Marcos is already doing a nice job on handling his day-to-day duties. Luis Mendoza will help Marcos. He's a Northern Illinois student that works here in the summer. He's starting on Monday, December 18th. Our annual staff lunch is scheduled for Thursday, December 21st, if anybody wants to stop by. And finally, I contacted Charles to help produce an updated sexual harassment policy/resolution that needs to be adopted in the January 11th board meeting. The policy/resolution is required by state law, Public Act 100-0554, signed into law by the governor on November 16th, 2017. So that will be on the agenda in
Okay,
January.
January, okay. I'd just like to say that I think you did a great job with the park, Brummel Park.
It's getting there. It looks great. If you walk on it, it's like you're walking on a sponge. That's all got to settle. And we'll find out in the spring if we need to add more stuff.
Yeah,
But it looks beautiful.
yeah.
If I could
Thank
just
you.
add to, Brian gave me the personnel policy that the district's had since 1992, so that's 25 years. The sexual harassment portion has to be updated. Do you want me to look through the rest and see if anything else needs to be updated? I mean, certainly I'll try to retype, that doesn't cost anything, but.
I think that would be valuable.
Yeah, definitely. Should we look at it first, or,
Well, I'm gonna have to look at it for the next board meeting anyway,
okay,
so.
Maybe all of us could look at it.
We definitely need the sexual harassment
Yes,
resolution.
has to be done.
oh, I see,
Yeah,
okay.
it's required by law.
Okay, cool,
Thank you.
thank you.
Question, Brian? Are the lights usable this winter, before the spring, before you put in new fixtures?
The South Boulevard poles, the east pole is all fixed, but we have a broken headlight, or broken light at the top, and I'm not talking about glass being broken, it's leaning over. So that is all fixed, but we can't use it. It's on a different switch. In the spring, we'll replace all those lights.
So those lights are not usable for this?
No, but the west pole on South Boulevard.
The west bulb?
Yeah.
So that can be turned on?
Towards the base, that'll be on for ice skating.
Okay,
The west pole and the pole at Cayman Fieldhouse.
okay, so there's a pole on either side of the ice, basically?
Yeah.
Okay.
Brian, do you know when we'll be able to actually officially name the new playground? I think we were talking about naming it after a person that helped really this park over decades. who
Yvonne.
Passed away, yeah.
Yvonne, yeah.
Yeah,
We can have a ceremony in the spring. I would not do it now.
Okay,
But I would suggest maybe early May. Plan on having some kind of,
a ceremony type thing.
Yeah.
And if we do any advertising about the opening of the playground through the media or our website, could we use that new name?
I would suggest this. You work with Michelle Hayes just to coordinate some of the Brummel Park neighbors, and then we strongly make the suggestion, get people on board. I think they all are on board. They want to rename the park was one suggestion. I don't know if that's possible. But to put a sign up like the Yvonne Vanda Haven Play Circuit.
Right.
A suggestion was made to me that Yvonne's partner,
Anna?
Anna Boats.
Anna Boakstagen, was just there like this. You might want to name it after both of them. One's alive, one has passed. So what I'm suggesting is, let me contact Michelle Hayes. She's actually going to be here Sunday.
Yeah, whatever the name is, but I think as we're doing this, it would be nice to just start using the name.
I'm featuring Yvonne in January.
Okay,
I was just in contact with Anna and she just gave me pictures and a whole thing, so.
good.
She came into the office last week.
Yeah, so if you want, I can do that in January.
That would be
Whenever
great.
you're done.
And then a ceremony, more official, nice
Yeah.
weather.
When we originally did Brummel Park, the CDBG grant of the blue section that's existing, that is in the center of the park, we had hot dogs, and we can't do the hot dogs anymore, but we had the sound system out there, music playing, and then a few people spoke. It's very important that the right people are invited.
I would suggest maybe talking with Anna, and, I mean, if you use all their last names and everything, that's a lot of names
Yep.
to name a park, so, I mean,
But we're not changing the name of the park.
Or just the
Play
play,
center.
It's a
play area?
playground area.
Dedicated.
Maybe like Yvonne and Anna's, and
Yeah.
it doesn't have, maybe
Yeah.
get rid of the last names. But I think the conversation should happen with
Yeah.
her,
Yeah.
just because she might have an opinion.
Yeah.
Right. I'll get on that this month.
Thank you.
Okay. Where are we? Anna, she's not here, so
No.
nothing there. Old business, strategic planning and goals. I went back to Laura Dell after we all met this last meeting, and because two of the board members have said that they don't want to attend the strategic planning, she doesn't really want to work with just three of us. So one of the things I wanted to bring up tonight, which will be later in the new business, but it kind of relates to a strategic plan and why we should maybe pursue working towards a strategic plan, even if we are going to do it over several meetings while we're here. So I guess that's my thought for the next steps with that. So, any other comments about that?
Yes, I would ask that as a board, we keep open the possibility of all board members dialoguing with each other about the possibility of actually having that sometime this next calendar year. So if we do get consensus and all the commissioners are interested in a strategic planning kind of a meeting with this consultant, I hope that we could keep that relationship open. I'm an optimist, and I heard a little more possibilities from other commissioners, and maybe we could get to a point at some point in our discussions where people feel committed to being part of that. I'd hate to lose her consultation, is what I'm saying, if we
Right,
if we get all this
I think
going.
she's very good, and she could be helpful.
Okay.
Anybody else? All right, and the next thing I had was security at Ridgeville. We had talked about some of the issues.
I got a little update for you.
You do? Okay, good.
We're going to change the combination somewhere near the end of December.
Okay.
Or maybe even early January, because classes don't start to the 21st, and then we have people, campers and camp staff using the building for holiday camp. So we're going to change the combination. We have 2 monitors up, one in the main office, one in Natalie's office. The main office, we're having a little problem with the wiring. We're working on that.
Monitors for the outside,
The monitor's at the front door.
and
these
it
aren't
works.
It's existing, oh yeah.
So you put it back up?
Yeah, she can sit at her desk and see who's at the front door.
Okay. And so
But there's no system that you press the button and let them in. Now, I visited Pope John today, and I went to the water department, and they have this system where you're at the door, you press the button, and the camera's literally that big. And then they can talk to you from where they're at, or they can ring you in. Like, say, for instance, Dan's at the front door and you see him, you don't have to talk to him, just, ring him in. So we're pricing that, and it comes with 2 monitors that sit at your desk.
Okay. I know I gave you that Nest
Yeah,
information.
the system I looked up is the same system at the water department and Pope John.
Okay.
So if you drive through Pope John's parking lot, you could walk up to the back door and you'll see it. It's about that big. Okay, now there's also a monster camera up here.
Oh,
That doesn't work. They don't even use it. It's
It
not
just
part of the
looks- it
system.
just
It's
looks
the
like it
old
works.
camera. Yeah, but it's very good to keep because people see it. They go, oops, I better not, egg the window or whatever,
right.
like some of my buddies used to do. Anyways, so that system's low $1,000.
Okay.
But we're gonna investigate it. I need Ruben, because installation's another factor. So that's gonna happen in early January. Here's the system. We're gonna go to Pope John. We're gonna go to the water department, and then come back in January, tell you what we think about purchasing which system and how to pay for it.
Okay. Great.
That sounds more secure. Do you feel that way, Brian? A little,
I can't hear very good,
You
so,
feel that sounds-
no, I hear you, but I could sit in my office and all of a sudden Jerry pops in, so, and I don't even know he's in
You
the
can have a little
building.
warning.
So, no, it'll be,
See, that's when you leave the door out of I always have it closed. I have to bang, 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 hear me, and I call her on the phone, and then she hears me and lets me in.
so no, it would be definite upgrade, but we gotta make sure we get the right system, so it's not obsolete in a year or doesn't complete the functions we want.
great.
Just a question, what are you pricing out, just so I understand? Are you pricing out monitors, even though we have 2 already, is that?
I'm sorry, what?
What are you pricing out? The buzzer?
A system where right now we have big old monitors, and they don't, and the system we have, you just turn it on and you can see who's at the front door, that's it.
Okay,
The
that's
new-
what we have now, that's running.
Yeah,
You can see who's-
we have a little wiring problem with the one in Anna's office. So what we're looking at is a system similar, but will also give us the option to keep the door locked when she's here by herself, or, late afternoon, Anna's here by herself, or they can buzz people in, or talk to them at the front door late
You're
afternoon.
looking for an intercom buzz system.
Intercom,
Basically,
camera,
I see that.
and little monitor at your front, at your desk.
That will replace everything we have then?
Yes.
I see, okay.
Well, I know the Nest one that I looked at is actually, you can put it in through your computer, like through Wi-Fi.
Yeah, that's what we'll investigate. This system that we're looking at is AI phone.
But that's the ones they like.
Yeah, but Pope John loves theirs. I went to the water department to get the $200 boom, there it is, So at any rate, I'm going to take Ruben around and we'll investigate and then come back January and tell you what we think.
Okay, cool. Middle school programming, I think we're done there.
Yep.
Charles?
Levy ordinance. I think everybody's seen a copy. We need to adopt it. It conforms to the prior ordinance that we adopted. And we need to do it by voice vote. Once they get that back next week, I can get it on file with the clerk of the county, and then you'll be able to collect your tax dollars for the year.
What wording would help for the motion? Just a simple adoption of this written levy?
Yeah, I think the motion for levying taxes in the Ridgefield Park District for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2017, ending June 30, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
So we have to have a roll call.
Voice vote.
Voice vote, oh, just
Roll
aye?
call vote.
Yeah,
Roll
okay.
call vote, I'm sorry.
Commissioner Levy,
Aye.
Commissioner Brown is not here. Commissioner Cavone,
Aye.
Commissioner Point,
Yes?
Commissioner McCourt,
Yes.
All right, there we go.
Do you have the paperwork in front of you?
Yeah, it's here somewhere.
What do you need?
Once this is signed, do you
Don't sign that.
deliver that?
It's gotta be a different one?
Yeah, they don't want holes in there. You got,
I got
He's
one
got
here.
the official, okay. Oh, there it is.
I have one here if you need it.
I got 2 blanks here.
Oh, he has him, okay.
Okay, so we just need to have page 6 signed. Christina won't sign today, she'll have to sign tomorrow.
Sure.
So you would put in the A's here, Braun there,
And who
14th
actually
day,
turns it in?
14th day, you sign it.
Thank you.
Okay, so there's 4 of us here.
Right, so put each of their names.
Oh, okay.
We-
Nays,
Can we do 2, and then Anna signs both of them, and I bring you one?
yes.
You want it overnight, or can I take it to David's?
I don't know what he's doing next week, he may not be coming around.
So we should overnight it?
Yeah, we're kind of late in the month just because of the calendar, so I want to make sure this gets done.
Is this due in tomorrow?
No, it's not due tomorrow. It's due next week.
I asked-
So
I
what's
asked if
today's
city
date, the
maybe could
14th?
deal with
14th,
that
yeah.
line is tomorrow.
Uh,
And they were late in their process because they kept deferring the vote.
yeah. And then on page 7, you need to sign,
So we have to sign it twice?
yeah, 6 and 7.
So Anna can sign this. You want the original or the copy?
I would sign, do 2, and give me 1.
Okay, so let's do another one.
Okay.
Well, she's still got to sign.
Right, on page 6 and 7.
Anna signs it in 2 places.
So I'm saying on page 6 and 7.
Okay. So I gotta sign on this side, this page too. I didn't do that before.
Right.
So we gotta do that on the other one.
Yeah.
I'm sure Phil, that they did. Or a couple of days.
Do it here. Okay, so where's that one there? Okay,
Thank you.
done.
Thank you.
Okay, so what's next? Oh, okay. Are we all finished there with you then, Charles?
Yes, you're all
Okay.
finished with me, and we'll get that signed tomorrow, and then you'll overnight it to me. And then next week I will have to file with the county clerk.
Next week, what?
Next week I will file it with the county clerk.
Okay. Okay, so kind of along with this strategic planning process, I've done a little research with IAPD and with another park district, Palatine Park District. I went to the boot camp this summer, so I met with a guy by the name of Mike Clark from the Palatine Park District. He's the executive director there. Anyway, so I reached out to a couple of these guys, and one of the things I feel like we have a very efficient executive director review process, although I don't feel it's comprehensive. So what I'm suggesting is something where at the beginning of the year, we start talking about what our goals are for the district, talk about what we'd like to see, and put that in place in January and February. So we're going to do Brian's review in January. So I'm not suggesting this for this year. I'm suggesting it for 2018. And so, like one of the things that just came up tonight was just this whole program that we're talking about, trying to implement this pilot project we've got going. I am all for it. I think it's a great idea. I mean, I'm not sure that, physically we're, right there. Because I mean, I think 6,000 is fine. We can find that this year. We can, patch it together. But if we're talking about doing this next year, it's another $12,000 that we're going to spend. And, how do we get there? And I think it showed tonight that we're all on board for this. We're all together. We're all excited about it. So I think that's a really positive thing. So I think what I'd like to see with this is, maybe just take that as like point number 1. Implement this program over 2018. How are we going to do that? How, what's going to be the outcome of that? I mean, there's several things that we want to do next year. So I guess what I feel is sometimes I feel like it's kind of like, oh yeah, we did this, and now we're saying, oh, that was great. So it's sort of like just backing up a little bit and putting it into a more formal process. And so Mike actually sent me what they do at their park district, and it's a very comprehensive. And then I actually sent him an email, and then he kind of goes through and explains like how they do that, and like they meet mid-year. They, it's just interesting to learn how another park district does it. So anyway, I'd like you guys to look this over. I don't think we need to do anything with it tonight. I just wanted to present it and think about how we might be able to implement something like that for next year.
We'll put this on the agenda again.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you, Ken. Yes,
Does anybody have any comments?
this is great.
Thanks. Oh, and the other thing Peter Murphy sent were these surveys. I didn't mention that. And that's in the last part. And this is something we could even do online, like, SurveyMonkey or something like that. And this could be something where staff could even be involved. And so you could actually, have a way to give feedback to Brian and, Ruben and Marcos could, and Anna. So it's just a more of a 360 view.
Sure.
So, anyway, so that's that. Approve the annual calendar.
You want to go to the audit?
We got to do the audit.
Oh, the audit, sorry. Did I skip that?
Can I-
Yeah, that's all right.
Can you start signing these as they go? Did you
No, they're
say-
done.
Oh, they're done.
Yeah.
So- Was daydreaming.
You have in front of you the books from the book from the auditor, the annual report. And you also have in your packet a letter from the auditor. And Charlie was chiming in, if he has anything he wants to contribute to it, he was eager to go straight to the letter, because I think probably what he wanted to see was, did they have any findings or any, things that we needed to address? And we have a clean audit, which is what we want to see. The items that I discussed during my report kind of fall under the little phrasing in their letter that just says, they're required to accumulate all known and likely misstatements identified during the audit and communicate them, and management has corrected all misstatements. So, nothing really lingered or stayed as a result of what they did. So we got a nice clean letter, which is good. That's what we want. The annual report itself, it starts with their report, kind of their scope. Then the discussion and analysis section is co-authored by Brian with Natalie's help and me. That runs from pages 3 through 7, and that's a required letter that we have to put in there. And all we're doing is just basically taking the numbers from elsewhere in the report. The rest of the report is pretty much laid out as is required by accounting standards. I'm happy to answer questions about it, but I'm not the most knowledgeable in what some of the reports mean. I usually like to go straight to the balance sheet page, which is page 10, and page 11, the statement of revenues expenditures, because the page 10 is like our balance sheet that we see each month through the year. And page 11 is kind of a summary of our appropriations ledger. By fund, looking at page 11, what it says is our net change in fund balances was we increased our fund balances by about $68,000. In the other governmental funds, they went up by $32,000. Well, that's because we transferred from the recreation fund over to the capital improvement fund for the Bromo Park project. The recreation fund saw no change in its balance, and that's because we transferred our money out of there that we had planned to spend on Bromo Park. And then on corporate fund, what gets a little tricky in looking at this is it's not, on the one hand, it's kind of like looking at a business. Well, here's my revenue and here's my expenses. But the problem is the revenue section is a little bit misleading because it doesn't really say that we brought in the taxes of our levy ordinance, because we don't get it in the same fiscal year. The taxes come in later, so it's kind of like taxes we got from a prior year came in along with some taxes for the current year, so the revenues aren't really matched to this set of expenditures. So it's almost better to kind of just look at the expenditures relative to the budget, because that's really how we manage the district on a day-to-day basis. The budget match, so that page ties further back to page 33, where it then matches those same expenditure figures to the budgeted figures. And what we can see is, in the general fund, we managed the appropriation so that we gave back about $25,000 of unexpended money. In other words, we budgeted for $304,000, we only spent $278,000, and that was the big contribution in the corporate fund to the increase. We also happen to have, if you go up to the revenues on page 33, about $15,000 of revenue contribution, but like I say, that's a bit misleading because it's not an apples to apples to the budget year kind of comparison. If you go to the recreation page, which is page 34, we actually had a huge shortfall in revenue. If you look at just the tax portion alone, we actually fell short on the taxes by about the same amount we were over on the corporate fund. And that's probably just the year-to-year shift of our levy relative to what our expenditure plan is, and that mismatch factor. But on the expenditure side of the recreation fund, we actually, it's a big number there because we have the Brummel Park distortion in there. So it looks like we spent $116,000 less than we planned to in the budget, and that's in fact true because of the CDBG issue in Brummel Park and the $25,000. So it's a little harder to see what happened there. But, those are some of the ways I look at the numbers and go through it. A lot of the rest of it is in the middle, between those two sections are the accounting notes. A lot of it's kind of just generic language that explains the GASB accounting standards. A big chunk of it is the discussion of the IMRF accounting and the depreciation accounting, which is a big part of what Canuti handles for us. We don't reflect that in our day-to-day accounting of the district. So that's the report. Any discussion or questions at this point?
Page 33, you said the total expenditure, $25,384?
Under budget, yeah.
Under budget.
Correct.
Which means it went where?
Into
It's still sitting there.
Well, unexpended funds go into the corporate. So that's part of why our balances in the corporate fund went up.
Got it. We don't have
So-
to give that back to the state?
No.
Oh.
Like on 34 here, where it's expenditures and these different wages and salaries. So like it says variance with final budget. Does that mean we spent over the amount?
No, those are the numbers without parentheses are under budget. Because if you look, it says, take administrator salaries, for example. That category, we budgeted $31,000.
Okay.
We didn't do any revisions to our budget, so the final budget was $31,000. Our actual expenditure was $29,000, so we spent $18.99 less than our budget.
So
That's a good
in
thing.
repairs and maintenance, we went over
We went
4,300.
over. And
It
we
seems
can
like
move
opposite of
money
what-
between the
what you-
categories up to 10% of the total. So it's okay to go over on a category as long as it's not more than 10% of the total and another category is under. So they
And
kind of
total,
balance out.
10% total of the fund or the
Of
category?
the fund.
Of the fund.
Of the
Like,
fund.
that gives you some
Of
room.
of that fund's expenditures, so
Yeah.
of its budget, 445, yeah. So you can move between the lines, but you can't go, if every line was over, you'd have a problem.
Right. Okay.
You can't go over on everything. Interestingly, you notice repairs and maintenance was 4,300 over budget in the recreation fund, but it was almost a similar amount under budget in the corporate fund.
Oh, so you transferred that.
I didn't transfer it, but that's just kind of in the day-to-day classification of repairs and maintenance. It's just interesting, how do we know in advance how much we're gonna have to repair or maintain? Brian makes his best guess when he puts the budget together every year. Some years he wins on the one side, some years he loses on the other. As long as overall, we're coming out okay, he's making good guesses.
Yeah, it just seems odd that you would have, it seems opposite of how you would list it. Right?
There's a lot of stuff that's opposite of what I think is logical.
Okay. As long as you can explain it, that's good. Okay, so I
Now,
think we
so before we move
Oh,
on,
sorry.
we need to pass a motion by roll call vote accepting the audit.
So move.
give it a second.
Roll call.
Sorry. So accepting
The audit.
the audit. Okay. Okay. Commissioner Beatty?
Aye.
Commissioner Braun is absent. Commissioner Kubo?
Aye.
Commissioner Coyne?
Aye.
Commissioner McCourt?
Aye.
Is Ann gonna need to sign this? Just this,
I think it would be a good practice.
what's that?
Kate didn't specify.
Filed anywhere.
It's a current
What's that?
thing.
It's just, there's a new state statute that,
Oh, is that about the
The approval of the
sexual
audit.
stuff? Oh, no, okay.
I would
That's
just
next
do it as a matter of just follow.
well, it's not gonna get done, it won't get done till Monday.
That's fine. That's fine.
That's fine.
Where this information goes from here is Canuty takes care of filing it with Cook County for the debt disclosure ordinance, and they take care of filing it with the state of Illinois to comply with the financial, the annual financial reporting requirements of the state.
Okay. Can we do that in the morning on Monday?
Monday, absolutely.
Yeah, I got some in the afternoon. Okay, so I think the next thing up was to approve the dates for next year's meetings. Should I read them out? January 11th, February 8th, March 8th, April 12th, May 10th, June 14th, July 12th, August 9th, September 13th, October 11th, November 8th, and December 13th.
So move.
All in favor?
Aye.
I just want to say, I can't be at the mines, we got a post-holiday company party on January 11th that I'm like coordinating, so it's going to be tough for me to be at the meeting in January. Is there any, what's pending for January 11th, and is it, okay,
Nothing major.
okay, good. I just want to make sure nothing's major is going down.
Okay.
Budget's passed,
Okay.
audit's passed,
Okay, good.
The sexual harassment policy,
just discussion.
We gotta pass that.
All right.
but you don't have that much of a choice.
We'll have a quorum at least.
Yeah, okay.
I'll circulate it beforehand.
Excellent.
Yeah, okay. Let's see, where are we? Citizen, no, wait, oh no, new business. We're still on that.
Holiday stipends.
Oh, holiday stipends. How do we do this? Can you remind me?
Yeah, last year, we did, full-time employees were given a $500 stipend each, and Natalie was given $250, she had just started.
Okay,
My suggestion would be $500 for everybody.
So move.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, are you kidding me?
Woo-hoo! Party! Okay, I think we should probably do this in a different order. I think we should do the call of the commissioners next. Does anyone have anything?
I don't have anything to
Just to inform us that for the May Pizza in the Parks picnic, the PTA at Lincoln officially approved $1,500 for that, so we'll be able to actually pay for the pizza and
Who can
ice cream.
Who can I contact over there so I get the forms going?
Let's see, for the permit?
Yeah.
I'd be happy to do that. You could go to me if you like.
Yeah.
I work there.
I know, but I'm gonna fill out this form, and then, like, the principal should sign it.
Oh, the principal?
Yeah, or
Yeah, if you
somebody.
send it to me, I'll hand it to
Okay.
her and get it back to you. Is it
Okay.
just a signature on?
Yeah, but the specific needs that we may have to
You
do.
got it.
Okay.
All right.
So we should switch call the commissioners and citizen comments on the agenda.
Yes, yeah. I had a thought while we were discussing the new program over at Cayman. Natalie and I had gone to see Ken, what's his last name, from Presence Healthcare. Ken, anyway, he's the new
Oh, the CEO.
CEO of healthcare. And it occurred to me that this might be something that they might want to help fund. And especially because it kind of has to do with health, healthy kids. And I think, you know, if we could possibly think about in the first couple of months of next year, maybe approaching them with some sort of a proposal as a part they could sponsor. Because I think a lot of times, you know, I think organizations like this like to help out. And, you know, I think it probably has all the earmarks of something that they would want to do a grant for. I mean, I think, you know, there might be some low-income kids in this. So I think it just might be something worth approaching them about. So if we could think about that.
Makes sense.
Great.
And anybody else?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor? All right. Happy holidays, everybody.
I have to, we're out of session, but just so you know, there's a movie being filmed in Cayman West Park right now. So if anybody drives by, or anybody asks you, it's a movie, Book of Leah, small independent film. They're doing one scene in Cayman West right now. So I gotta get over there.
Maybe you can be an extra.
Brian, are you in the movie? Is that why you have to be over there?
Natalie could be an extra.
Brian, are you the grumpy old man in the movie? What's your role?
My role is to make sure the police aren't there, that's it.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Hey, you too.